All right. Hello,
Hi.
I'm Warren. I guess I'm your therapist this afternoon.
Okay.
Brings you,
Amber.
what
Nice to
brings
meet
you
you.
here, Amber?
Well, initially it was supposed to be couples therapy, but I kind of feel like I'm gonna be ending up getting divorced.
Oh, sorry to hear
He
that.
refuses to go to counseling, so
Sure. I'm sorry to hear that. You want to tell me a little bit more about your marriage?
um we definitely have had our struggles. There's been some infidelity on his part and some drug use. So those have been the major things
Okay.
that caused some issues between the two of us.
When there's both of those make a union pretty difficult.
Mhm. Yeah. It's just trying to figure out what's best for myself and my daughter.
Sure.
Been my biggest.
How old's your daughter?
She's 13.
13.
Yeah.
Old enough to
Yeah.
understand what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
can't say it's been easy, but I'm trying to do the best that I can in this.
sure. How do you feel about, do you have a plan moving forward? How do you feel about all this? Is this new? Is it something that's
Um, it's something that's been coming. I can tell,
yeah,
when somebody's distant and they don't, um, they don't want to talk about things, and everything leads to an argument. And anything you say, you're the bad guy. You just kind of, you fight all the time.
right, right.
So,
What, what, what do you, from your vantage point, what do you think the crux of the problem is?
um, it's the infidelity and the drug use.
Sure,
Honestly, that's been
sure,
the major issue. When somebody doesn't see a problem with their actions and they continue that behavior.
absolutely. Yeah. How does your daughter know your intentions? Do you confide in her at all?
I try to keep her out of grown-up situations,
Good.
but she hears the arguments. So,
Yeah. How do you think she's handling it?
stress, little anxiety with the situation. No kid wants their parents to get divorced, but
No, of course not.
I think she's handling the best that she can.
How are her grades? Any behavioral issues or grades
She
okay?
struggled,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Definitely has. She went from being, like A and B student to more like B's and C's, some D's. So definitely seeing some negative like consequences of everything that's going on.
if she were here, what do you think that she would say?
She definitely, I think she would want what's best for her family. I don't know if she really understands what that it would be, but she
Or
having parents that fight all the time is definitely not what's best for the family.
right, kids tend to be intuitive sometimes without even understanding how they are intuitive.
She's a smart kid.
It's great. How do you how do you see yourself proceeding?
I mean, I have two options. It's either stay in a marriage where we argue all the time, or go ahead and get divorced and set the best example, I think, for my daughter,
Mm,
and you know, try to find, happiness and joy again.
sure. When did these problems start?
I think they've kind of been building up. He had some credit card debt and had to file bankruptcy. So it's kind of just snowballed because he hasn't talked about his feelings. He started drinking, and then it went to using prescription medications, and it just increased from there, like the frequency of using and the
Hmm.
drinking, and then being around certain people and being around, people that do engage in drug activity led to the cheating. So it with, started with drinking, and it's kind of went snowballed into where we're at now.
Hmm. You do you remember a time before all this when things were good? Did everything start happening at the time when the financial stuff hit? 'Cause a lot of times marriages, unions go south with finances. Um, and just do you see a point where there was a pivotal point in time where things kind of went south? Was it just the financial stuff, the bankruptcy and credit card debt? Is that kind of the pivotal point?
Yeah, I'd say that's where it started from.
Were you guys getting along pretty well then, before then?
um I mean, I think we both kind of had our ways of talking to each other when we were angry, and I know that, I tend to yell because of that's what the example I was put in front of me. So um, it doesn't help when you're both screaming at each other.
Tell me a little bit about your childhood. Is that what you were
Um,
referring to, your reference to your parents
yeah, I
fighting?
was kind of referring to how, how my father was when he was upset. He raised his voice and would yell, get in your face. He wasn't really physically abusive, but he was emotionally, verbally abusive. So, um,
Well, you seem
so
to.
when you have that example put in front of you, it's just
Right.
kind of
I can relate.
what you revert to.
I can relate. Believe me. I had a similar childhood as well, so I can definitely relate to that. Do you, when you look back, do you feel like, and certainly not to put any blame on you, but when you reflect introspectively, do you see anything you could have done differently? And the answer may be no. It may be, um, he went down that road and that was his road. I'm just curious if you've had any introspection.
I definitely know that I can work on my anger and the way that I respond to situations. That's
Sure.
definitely something that I can work on. But when you've got somebody that doesn't really want to listen and wants to do things their way no matter what, it's kind of hard to
Sure.
reach a compromise.
Sure. It's also hard to intervene uh, when he's not present. If he were here, we could we could maybe offer up some interventions and just discuss it. But here we are.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me when did you get married?
2008,
2008.
so it's been one.
Okay. That was long. And what do you do for work?
I am
What's that?
working on getting my degree in therapy.
Oh, that's awesome. And how long have you been doing that?
I'm on the second year, so getting close to the end.
All right. All right. Well, I'm at a loss. This is all new to me.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that, like when you get to the point where the person's not willing to compromise, then what's the point of the relationship is kind of how I feel about it.
I understand. I understand. What, I mean, it's pretty clear cut. I could ask, I could say, it, it, would there be any forgiving, anything he could do to forgive that behavior?
Um, it's hard to say. There would have to be, I think, changed behavior, and I'd have to see some progress before there could be possible reconciliation. Um, Not saying it's completely, off the table, but when somebody doesn't even want to show up for therapy or
Sure.
doesn't even want to talk about the issues that we're facing, it's kind of like you feel alone in the situation. Like, what's the point?
Absolutely. In a perfect world, what would your marriage look like?
Um,
What would he look like?
Somebody that communicates and somebody that I can trust. Um, who's willing to compromise and work through situations. Um, Definitely nobody's perfect because I'm not perfect whatsoever.
Sure.
But just somebody willing to work together towards a common goal.
Mm-hmm. Seems pretty solid, reasonable standards. When you two argue, can you think about the last argument you had and how that went?
It would be about money. He was using money that was for bills for drugs.
Hmm.
So taking household money and using it for things that it wasn't intended for.
Can't do that. Family
Especially when
comes
bills are due. Yeah.
family comes first. Well, do you have I'd like to send you some resources for help if you were interested in that for times that we aren't together. Would you be interested in those?
Yes, I would actually.
Okay,
Just trying to navigate everything, so that would definitely be helpful.
great. I don't know how long it's been, but do you know how long it's been?
Mm.
I'm gonna stop the recording.